river fishing up here in the state of Washington opens up next weekend, and I'm really big on river fishing. As you can see by my icon, that's a picture of about a 24-pound winter run steelhead, my biggest yet. And so I'm going to start reviewing some fishing gear and hopefully get some fishing footage and some fishing videos and show you guys some of the fish that I catch. Hopefully I'm going to figure out how to roll pictures in the video pretty soon. Maybe I'll roll some pictures into this video and show some of the fish that I've caught. I do pretty good. I'm not bragging, but just the fact is I do catch fish. And so one of the things I wanted to show you guys is one of my favorite reels. This is the Shimano Calcutta Te 201. I don't think they make the TE version of this anymore. I'm not sure. Super stopper, we'll talk about that. We're going to talk a little bit about bearings. We're going to talk about drag and all kinds of stuff with this guy. So here's the specs on it. 5-to-1 gear ratio. That means the spool goes around 5 times to 1 crank of the handle. 6 stainless steel ball bearings, high efficiency gears, super stopper anti-reverse, Shimano variable brake system, paddle knob power handle, quick fire 2 clutch bar, 1-piece aluminum body, precision aluminum spool, and Shimano Super Free. Some of the important stuff: 10.4 ounces. It's pretty light for the solidness of this reel. Yards of line: 8-pound 230, 10-pound 210, which is what I run, and 14-pound 120 yards. I run almost all the time 10-pound test because I'm pretty much using this reel only for steelhead, and I use it a little bit for salmon. It's a little bit small for Chinook salmon, but it's fine for like cohos and things like that. This is what you get in the box. Instructions. It's not. This thing does have a lifetime warranty on it, I believe. Which is good because this thing could last you a lifetime actually if you take good care of it. This is a left-handed reel, as you can see. It's designed to be reeled left-handed. The reason I use a left-handed reel, even though I'm a right-handed guy, is I like to cast and reel, and I'm ready. A lot of times what happens, especially with steelhead or salmon, you throw out there, it hits the water, it goes in. While you're switching hands and getting ready to reel with the other hand, you already have a bite and you can miss it. I've seen it happen a bunch of times. I don't have that problem because I'm always ready. And that leads us to why the super stopper on this is so great. What super stopper means is there's literally no backwards play in this reel. See that? I'm pushing hard too, and I can't even move it just a micro, and it will not go backwards. Why is that important? Well, if that reel has to get from here to here backwards, that's line that's going back out to the fish that's on the bite, and that's less pressure you're getting on your hook set to actually hook that fish. With this, you're immediately getting pressure on that fish and putting pressure on that hook set. And that's important because you're going to have a belly of line and going through the water to the fish, and you're going to have to pick all that line up first. So any extra line on top of that is a chance of you missing a fish. And I don't know about you, but I don't like to miss fish. And for this, in this reel, it's amazing. It's amazing. 1-piece forged aluminum frame. Why is that important? I have seen cheaper reels. We have salmon up here that are called chum or dog salmon, and they run pretty thick, and they fight really, really hard. I know those guys out there who watch this who may have caught them before will agree that there's some hard running fish. And I've seen guys, when you get into those, you can catch them just one after another, and I've seen guys' reels just basically fall apart because they just can't take it. They can't take the stress. You know, they bend, they warp. They'll be fishing, and those fish really like to run. They'll be taking a big run. You see a little steam come off of their reel, and it's not coming from the line. It's coming from stuff inside there, because moisture can get inside of these weep holes, so moisture also gets out. These are saltwater rated. They're also rated. It's got this insert inside there for braided line, which is important. Anyway, they'll have a big fish on, they'll be screaming out, little steam, poof, reel locks up, line snaps. All of a sudden the reel doesn't work anymore, or it's warped, or it's bent, or whatever. I don't have that problem with this. You can see that I've used it. That's from the borax on eggs. It gets on that stuff and causes a little bit of rust. The rest of it's all pretty good stainless and pretty well good anodized aluminum. This held up really well. This reel is about 3 years old. It's caught, I don't know, 30 steelhead, maybe 50 salmon. A lot. It's held up pretty well. The paddles on this guy, very soft, very grippy. You don't lose your grip. You don't slip off of them when you're reeling in a fish. The drag on it is super smooth. You can torque it down pretty tight and it still has enough give that it's not going to lock up and snap line on you. It's got magnetic braking system, which you access by turning this. Open that. You click these things in or out. Out makes it stronger braking, in makes it less. I have them all out. That's the way I like it. When you're steelhead fishing, a lot of times you're casting really light lead and you don't want backlash. It's actually hard to backlash this reel. It's amazing. I know a lot of you guys out there who probably stay away from these kind of reels because you worry about backlash. If you want to spend the money, there's a reel that won't backlash on you. You know, unless you get that thing totally turned all the way off, which we'll talk about tips about that maybe in another video on casting. This adjusts your spring tension on the reel for how it free spools. You can go less and less and less, more and more and more, and works really well. The threads on that are very fine. Same with the threads on the drag are very fine, so it's really you got a lot of adjustment in it. Some drags are so touchy that just one little crank like that and they're locked all the way. Snap, there goes the fish. This one you actually got some turnability into it, so it works really well. When you do hit it in cast mode, you'll notice that this guy doesn't move back and forth when it's free spooling, which is good. Gives you longer casts, because what happens is when this thing moves back and forth while you're casting, it's all working off the same gear system and it will slow down your reel and you won't get as long a distance to cast. So that's a good thing. Super smooth. I can't even describe how smooth it is. Like Swiss watch, I don't know. Made in Japan. Has really good heavy duty gears. This thing's landed 30-pound king salmon before, and it's not even really made for fish that big. You can see it's a pretty small reel, but it handles it just fine. Handles salt water. Now for the downside. It's expensive. I'm not sure if they still make the TE model. The TE is the titanium spool inside there, a titanium coating on the spool. About $299. Yeah. I bought it used with a rod for $400, so I got a good deal because I got a really good rod too, which we'll review sometime when I figure out how to do a rod review. Probably gonna have to do that outside with someone filming. Reel seat, stainless steel, very good. It's on there really well. It's pinned on there. It's not just welded on. I've seen oftentimes reel seats that are welded on and that weld starts to corrode, and I've seen guys fishing and pop goes the reel off the reel seats when they got a big old fish on. Real bummer. This one's really good. Weep holes, very important. I don't care what kind of reel you got, moisture and water gets inside these things. And it's important that it can also get out. And so that's really good that these things can weep and let the water out of there so it gets dry. And you can, like I said, you pop this and you can pull this off, take the spool off, get in there, clean, oil. Very important, guys. Oil your reels every season. Every season. Very important. I've seen guys freeze reels up and send them in to get replaced, and the manufacturers say, nope, you haven't been oiling it. And they're like, oh, you mean I'm supposed to oil it? Yeah. All manufacturers recommend that you oil them at least once every season. Sometimes I'll do 2 or 3 times. I live in a high moisture environment, so it's pretty important. But anyway, expensive, but they work really well. Bearings. I want to talk a little bit about bearings. This only has 6 bearings, but one of the things you'll hear out there is guys talk about 10 bearing reels and 15 bearing reels or whatever. Higher bearings, better reel. Not necessarily true if the quality of bearings is not as good. The Japanese bearings that are in these reels are super high quality. So 6 in this reel is probably equivalent to having 10 in a lesser reel. I guess is what I'm trying to say. Very high quality in that. Very high quality reel. If you take good care of this reel, it should last you the rest of your life. And you should be able to catch a lot of fish. So, anyway, I didn't want to make it too long a review, and it's already longer than I wanted it to be. So, guys, get out there. Get your wife and kids. Get outdoors. Do some fishing.